transgender woman at the heart of investigation by Missouri's Attorney General says
it was about time for me to start getting in shape.
Says her membership has been terminated.
Can somebody tell Baldylocks that if she's trying to be a woman, she ain't doing it right? What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Before we get started, I'm just going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to comment just to help me on the algorithm, but you don't know what to comment, just leave a knife, because you know some trans activist is going to come from my neck on this one. Also, I want to remind you guys, I have enabled channel memberships. I'm trying to see how fast I can get to 1,000 paid members on my channel. So if you have a chance, join down below. Now let's get started. All right, guys, so it's feeling like once a week we have to have some incident where some brother Tucker is in the women's locker room and pretending like it's just okay. And I don't know if you guys saw this story, but I'm gonna give you the latest update on it. So this woman was recently the center of a controversy because of being in a gym locker room. And I really feel like in this situation, finally, the gym made the right decision and they had to find a loophole in order to do it, which we're going to talk about. But at first, it really had triggered not only protests, but also a call to the Attorney General of Missouri. And the gym's hands were tied because this person in particular had changed the gender marker on their ID. So if you change the gender marker on your ID, it's like, well, it says she's a female, so how are we supposed to tell her that she's not female enough? And some people would say, what are their genetics and stuff like that? But if a person's willing to lie to you about that too, then really what is your recourse? Because we all know real women that do not have a genetic condition or anything like that, maybe possibly somewhere deep, but nothing really traceable, that do not look traditionally feminine. Also, we all know some real women that are sometimes just super tall, and they're freakishly tall, like a lot of WNBA girls. Like, nobody disputes their women. So that's where I understand sometimes the gyms are in a tough position, but I do feel like the trans person in all situations, it is on them to try their best to assimilate and look like a woman. I know it's not always going to be the easiest for everybody, but when I showed you the picture, we can do better than that. Come on now. You're not putting any effort in it at all. If you're supposed to be a woman, that hairline did not get the memo. That hairline is triggering my dysphoria, and I'm not even dysphoric. That hairline really should be under a wig, possibly a hat with the hair sewn into it, maybe just a regular baseball cap, and then you have the little, I don't know if that's gonna be enough. Maybe a bonnet could be acceptable, a wrap of some sort. I just feel like that hairline is not giving feminine at all. And my best advice would be, you really need to put something on your head. I'm not being mean, I'm not being superficial. It's just, if you want us to buy you as a woman, I have something I always say. If you're not gonna take this seriously, we're not gonna take this seriously. So when it comes to that hairline, it definitely should be covered up. Not a cap, not a visor, and certainly not a fall. I've got to be real clear with you guys, because you really will try to get cute with it in every way possible except your look. Your transition cannot happen in our brains. You cannot expect us to make the transition for you. You cannot be like, I am a woman, and then look like me, or like this guy, or like the one from Planet Fitness in Alaska that we covered not too long ago. None of these are acceptable representations of what it is to be a woman. I get it if your friends respect you as a woman and your friends see you as a woman. I have no problem with that if your friends want to feed into whatever it is you're going through that way. That's between you and your friends. But you have to remember that there is a greater population that isn't there to coddle you like your friends. So do your best to actually look like a woman if you're expecting people to even slightly entertain you being in women's spaces. And so I'm going to read you guys the article and tell you how it all went down. This was the only one that actually covered how they were able to find their way out as far as the gym went. But just to catch you guys up on the story, what happened was about a week ago, this person was in the women's locker room. She claims that some people were very supportive of her being there. Other women were giving her hugs.
There have been way more people within the locker room who've come to me, given me hugs, told me they love me, told me I belong there, told me please stay.
So what happened was, a St. Louis fitness center has terminated the membership of a transgender client after being alerted to social media posts by the former member that company leaders deemed a threat to the health club's safety and security. Eris Montano, 52, a male who identifies as female, was escorted out of the Lifetime Fitness gym in Ellsville on Monday after spending the morning there using the sauna and sunbathing, according to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Lifetime received complaints last week about Montano's use of the women's locker room. One Republican lawmaker charged that Montano was using the guise of transgenderism to expose himself to women and girls in the locker room, an allegation that Montano denied. Montano's membership was terminated after Lifetime was presented with multiple publicly available statements which could affect the safety and security of one of our clubs, spokesman Natalie Bushaw said, clarifying in an email that the statements she referred to were Montano's social media post. We swiftly took action and this individual is no longer a member of Lifetime. Montano, who also goes by the name Eris Discordia, responded on X, writing that Lifetime Fitness just decided to solve their trans girl in the locker room problem by misreading my remarks today as threats of violence rather than threats of lawsuits and terminating my membership and having the police walk me out. Montano's X and Facebook accounts are filled with strange musings, mostly on transitioning and being trans, but also about coding, religion, and politics. It's unclear exactly which post Lifetime found troubling. Montano's X account is now private. See, and that's the thing. I hate to break it to this person, Eris Montano, but you can't be doing crazy things and then wonder why the gym doesn't want you there. I mean, you're already skating on thin ice because when it becomes a big enough deal that they're literally having protests, and I heard on a video where one of the ladies at the protest was saying that there was something scary about their social media post and that lady had printed them out, is what she said.
So if you want to have an educated, grown-up conversation, let's have it. Answer my question. Have you seen his social media?
And you can't demand access to spaces that you really shouldn't be in and then act crazy on top of it because they're going to look for a reason to get rid of you. So let's see, because this one does go on to say what some of the things might have been. So Montano's X account is now private. Quote, is the slight inconvenience of asking someone to give you space worth taking a chance of unaliving them instead? Montano wrote prior to having his Lifetime membership terminated. That does sound weird. And it does sound like it could be a threat. I'm open to interpretation, but that does sound like it could be a veiled threat of some sort. He also wrote that, quote, ultimately the question becomes what percentage of society would like to build a community with people who would choose their inconvenience over someone's life? Again, sounds weird, and that one to me sounds like he might have been thinking about self-deleting, and if he's thinking about doing that at the gym, there's a potential to traumatize a lot of people. And I can understand how they'd be like, yeah, we gotta get this person out of here, whatever it was. But let's keep going. In recent days, Montano has written about his complete and permanent exit from the market, suggested that there isn't anything tantalizing about locker rooms, mused about the possibility of making a device that can passively detect if a human brain has seen more than iota of child CP, and called for a single stall transphobe bathroom for the three bigots making noise so they can leave the rest of us women alone. Okay, so you think the actual women need to find another bathroom. Not that you and the other trans women could possibly have your own bathroom. Okay. Montano has also written about taking legal action against his harassers. I want to get my harassers' web histories into evidence in at least one court case, Montano wrote. In another post, he said he is still going to demand justice from anyone who defamed me or misused their government position to deny my rights as a citizen. Montano previously denied accusations that he was using the women's locker room to expose himself to women. He told the Post-Dispatch last week that he only changes clothes in single-person dressing room stalls and drapes a towel over the door to the shower. I'm not there to see anybody else, Montano told the paper. I am there to change clothes and get the heck out of there. However, Montano also said that when he was confronted by a member in the women's room sauna who said he shouldn't be there, he tugged at his bikini top to show the woman part of his his breast to prove that I am a real woman. In addition to terminating Montano's membership, Lifetime is also defending itself from charges by Republican Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who wrote a letter to the company's CEO last week that said Lifetime's policies of allowing biological men in the women's locker room are enabling potentially criminal behavior. Quote, while it might be fashionable in certain corporate boardrooms to pretend that biology is irrelevant, the American heartland still lives in reality, Bailey wrote. In a letter to Bailey on Monday, Eric Linseth, Lifetime's senior vice president and general counsel, insisted that the company operates in scrupulous compliance with the law in every jurisdiction it operates. In states that are silent on gender identity, members and guests must use the locker room and bathroom on their driver's license or birth certificates. Likewise, in states that permit use based on gender identity, members and guests may use the facilities that correspond with their gender identity, Linseth's letter says. And that's exactly what I was saying. If it says on this person's license that they are female, even though what you may see in front of you is clearly male, you probably have to respect their license, because outside of a physical examination, you're not going to be able to prove otherwise, no matter what your eyes see. Again, there are women that look manly, so this is what it is. I knew a lesbian named Rose, full-on lesbian one time, and she looked so much like a dude. 100% woman. She even had a kid. I knew her kid. I still know her kid. We still talk on Facebook sometimes. Hey, Fallon. Okay, so he goes on. The company's policies also dictate the members and guests err on the side of modesty and cover up with the towel or appropriate clothing in the locker room. In Missouri, Linseth's letter says the company must abide by the Missouri Human Rights Act, which bars sex discrimination in bathrooms and locker rooms. Recently, a prospective member presented a driver's license issued by the Missouri Department of Revenue. The letter states that Missouri-issued ID advised us and the public that the prospective member's sex was female. Under Missouri law, this individual's legal sex is female. Lifetime's policy is to rely on the state's assigned gender. The letter states, to do otherwise would put us in violation of the Missouri Human Rights Act. Exactly like I was saying, they're trying to make sure that they don't get in trouble here. Missouri State Representative Justin Sparks, the first lawmaker to express concerns about Lifetime allowing Montano in the women's locker room, has said he wants an investigation to determine if the state of Missouri issued Montano an ID based on non-factual information. Lifetime is a posh fitness chain based in Minnesota that calls itself a place for everyone on its website. We embrace our commitment to recognize, elevate, and empower women and the BIPOC, disabled, and LGBTQIA+ communities to ensure all are equally heard, accepted, respected, supported, and valued to fully participate, its website says. This incident at Lifetime Fitness is just the latest involving concerns about biological men using women's locker rooms. Earlier this year, a woman in Alaska made headlines after she had her Planet Fitness membership revoked for calling out and photographing a man shaving in the women's locker room. Last year, a teenage girl was banned from a YMC in Illinois after she encountered a man in the women's locker room and protested. So, there you have it. One gym found a way to make the right decision. I'm pretty sure that those tweets just gave them exactly what they needed to get that person out of there. It's unfortunate for them because I'm gonna be honest, I really don't think that they were in there for nefarious reasons. I think they just thought they were trying to make a statement and that they were gonna get to really flex on the real women and be like, I'm a woman just like you. I think that's what it was about. Let me know in the comments if you feel differently, but I don't feel like this little guy was being a creep. But you never know, so I'm not fully going to bat for that, but I don't think that that was the case with this one. But at the same time, I will remind all of these trans people, yes, it is on you to do your best to pass in society. That's the way you're going to have the easiest life. That's the way you're going to be able to do things that you want to do without being bothered. And I know that some actual females are going to get mad in the comments and be like, trans women should never be in women's locker room. I hate to break it to you ladies, but there's a good chance at some point in your life, whether you realized it or not, you were in the bathroom with the trans woman. She just was passable, so you didn't notice it was a trans woman. And if a person is reasonably passable, so they're not making you uncomfortable in that way, and also not acting like a creep and just trying to use a bathroom, I'm sorry, but I don't care where that person uses a bathroom. To me, me, that's up to them. Anyway, let me know what you think down below in the comments. As always, this has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian.
They bought into his bullshit.